Welcome back everyone to another edition of Untitled Go, and today we are playing 5-color party in Brawl. This is a deck built around Kenrith the Return King, and initially it was an all humans deck, but I realized that some of the better party creatures are non-humans, like Marag is a Minotaur, Drana is a vampire, Zagras is a vampire, Zaristan is a merfolk. So you might have immediately noticed I'm not playing Tazri as the commander, and that might seem like a mistake, and it probably is, but I really like Kenrith and all the abilities that he does, and since he's the only creature in the deck that's not part of the party system, I figured play him as the commander so you don't have to ever worry about drawing into it. I've broken this down into separate columns for all of the creature types. Every single creature in the deck is either a cleric, wizard, rogue, or a warrior, so we're always going to have creatures in play that count towards the party. So to break things off, we're playing a copy of Azure Paragon. This counts as all creature types, and we can look at the top 6 to try to find more creatures that share creature types with it. Playing Outlaw's Merriment because it makes 3 of the 4 creature types once every upkeep for us. And then to kick things off into Clerics, we have Archpriest of Iona. This gives a creature +1/+1 in flying, beginning of combat if we control a full team. We're playing Luminarch Aspirant. This puts counters on our creature at the beginning of combat. Playing Malakir Blood Priest, this drains our opponent equal to the number of creatures in our party, and we can bring it back with Kenrith, which is a nice little synergy. Playing Mangara the Diplomat, whenever our opponent attacks us with 2 or more creatures, we get to draw a card, and then whenever our opponent casts their second spell each turn, we get to draw a card. So it's just card advantage on a stick, and it's a 2/4 with lifelink, so it's a decent body. Playing Victory's Envoy, this is a 5-mana 3/3, and at the beginning of each of our upkeeps, we get to put a 1/1 counter on each other creature we control. So this is just going to pump the team over the course of a few turns, and make even the smallest creature astronomically hard for our opponent to deal with. Playing Drana, the Last Blood Chief, when she attacks, defending player chooses a non-legendary creature from our graveyard, and we get to put it into play with a counter on it, and it counts as a vampire. In the Rogues, we're playing Acquisitions Expert. When this comes into play, our opponent reveals X cards equal to the number of creatures in our party, and then we get to choose one and make them discarded. Playing Chevelle, Bane of Monsters. This is a 1/3 with Death Touch, and it puts bounty counters on your opponent's creatures at the beginning of your upkeep, and whenever a creature your opponent controls with the bounty counter dies, you gain 3 life and draw a card. So it's just going to be a nice little engine over the course of the game, and it's a 1/3 with Death Touch. Playing Nighthawk Scavenger, this is a flying Death Touch lifelink, and its power gets bigger over the course of the game, equal to the different card types in your opponent's graveyard. We're playing Zaristan, so whenever we attack with an unblocked rogue, we can flash it in the ninjutsu style, or we can just flash it in for 5, and whenever it deals damage to our opponent, we get to choose a permanent from their graveyard and just cast it for free. Playing Zagras, Thief of Heartbeats, this costs 1 less equal to the number of creatures in our party, so this can cost 2 mana for a 4/4 with Flying, Death Touch, and Haste. That gives all of our creatures Death Touch, and I think that's pretty good. Whenever our creatures deal combat damage to a Planeswalker, we destroy that Planeswalker. Getting into the Wizards, we're playing Nimble Trapfinder. This is a 2-mana 2/1 that whenever another Cleric, Rogue, Wizard, or Warrior enters the battlefield, it can't be blocked, and then if we have a full party, at the beginning of combat, all of our creatures gain, whenever they deal combat damage to a player, we get to draw a card. We're playing Magmatic Channeler. We're not playing a super ton of instants and sorceries, but this is going to allow us to draw some cards. We're playing Linvala, the 3-mana 3/3 with flying, and at the beginning of combat, if we control a full party, we can choose a target creature our opponent controls, and that creature can't attack, block, and its activated abilities can't be activated until our next turn. And we can sacrifice her at instant speed to give our creatures either hexproof or indestructible. We're playing Radha because she allows us to play the lands off the top of our deck, and that's going to be very helpful because our mana base is extremely clunky. Thundering Spark Mage, when this comes into play, it deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker equal to the number of creatures in our party. So at most, it's at the least it's going to hit for 1, at the most it'll hit for 4. Getting into Warriors, we have Seasoned Hollowblade. This is a 2-mana 3/1 where we can discard cards to give it indestructible. We don't want to pitch our cards constantly, but it is nice to just have like a really annoying sticky threat that our opponent has a hard time dealing with. Playing Kargan Intimidator, not all of our creatures are warriors, but being able to just make our warriors unblockable and pump this guy seemed pretty nice. Playing Squad Commander, when this comes into play, it creates a 1/1 core warrior creature token for each creature in our party, so at most it can make 4 tokens, so it puts 7 power on the play across 4 bodies for 4 mana, and that seems really good. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you have a full party, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain indestructible to end a turn. So this is going to be one of our payoffs. It's going to help us be able to be more aggressive with our attacks and get through for lethal damage. And of course, we're playing Tazri. Like I said, it probably makes more sense to play this as the commander, but I just prefer it in the 59. That's just my choice. You can mix it up if you want to try it out. But this costs 1 less for each creature in our party, so it can cost down to 1 mana for a 4/6. We can pay a blue, black, red, or green or 2 colorless, respectively, to look at the top 6 cards of our library to reveal up to 2 clerics, wizards, rogues, warriors, etc. So this is just going to help us dig for more and more creatures. We're playing Morag, Fury of Akum. This is a 6 mana 6/6, and our creatures get +1/+0 for each time they've attacked this turn, and we can play a land to give our creatures additional combat steps so we can just try to push through that extra damage. Our party payoffs, we have Journey to Oblivion, so this costs less for Oblivion Ring effect basically. Skyclave Plunder, this allows us to look at a lot of cards, find some resources. It's Coveted Prize, it can cost down to 1 and we can tutor for anything in the deck. Deadly Alliance destroys a creature or a planeswalker and it costs less, so it can cost down to 1 mana. Forth of Grave, because it returns target creature card and up to 1 cleric, wizard, warrior, or rogue from our graveyard, so it's always going to bring back 2 and it costs less for each creature in our party. Spoils of Adventure, this is a 6 mana instant that also costs 1 less to cast for each creature in our party, and we get to gain 3 and draw 3. To round out the rest of the deck, we're playing a few removal in Bloodchief's Thirst, Dire Tactics, and Extinction Event. And then we're also playing Cultivate to find some lands because, again, we are a 5 color, our mana base is a little clunky, so it is nice to just have kind of like a get out of jail free card to be able to tutor for 2 basics. And then we're also playing Once Upon a Time because this is the only format on Arena that it's not banned in, so you might as well play it. And I won't go over the mana base too much, but I will note that there is an Amara's Call, and there's also just like a bunch of Triomes, a bunch of Pathways, a huge mix of basics, Fatal Passage, and an Evolving Wilds. And that is the deck. If you like it, please consider checking it out in the deck description at my Ether Hub. It is a lot of fun to play. Definitely recommend checking it out. And if you do like it, please consider leaving a like on today's video. I'm trying to get 10 likes on today's video. And subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel. It would mean a lot and it would help me out. So hit the bell for notifications, and that's it for the deck tech. So let's take it into the arena and see how we do in the chaos that is the Brawl format. Seems like a good hand. It's a little slow with the tapped sources, but I think we can try it. Start off with the Rogran Triumph. Yikes. So this is Triumph.deck over here. Our opponent with Command Tower. Crud, I completely forgot about Command Tower. I completely forgot about Command Tower. I mean, is Arcane Signet also legal in this still, too? Because if that's the case, then I definitely made a major miscalculation of not adding either of those cards to the build. So food for Foo Fighters, if you already have imported the deck or are trying it out, highly recommend just adding in a Command Tower and an Arcane Signet, because obviously that would shore up a lot of the mana issues in this deck. Like a super ton of them. I'm going to go ahead and play this Tazri though. Up against Phylath, World Sculptor. So this is Gruul. Interesting. Dryad of the Elysian Groovy. To not do nothing. So play this out tapped. This would be 3 damage, it's almost enough. We could play Chevelle. And if all of our creatures survive till the next turn, then we have Spark Mage. Opponent thought about it, field ruining our land, but they opted out of it. That was a really fast Phylath. That was crazy fast. Alright, well, we're going to put it on Phylath because we're definitely killing him. I don't think exiling even counts anyway. So we're not going to be too critical about it. And this can clear up the Dryad. And now we can just get in with all of our creatures. Really be aggressive here. And now if we draw a land, our Morog's probably just going to win us the game. Maybe. If not, we can play Kenrith and give everything trample. Quartzwood Crasher, huh? Well, put it on there anyway. I mean, you love to see it. Oh, my poor opponent. Your boy, Uncle Senpai. I just love coming in this game serenading your boy, Uncle Senpai over here, playing Morog as his commander. This is going to be intense. I imagine this is going to be a very aggressive mono-red aggro list. Alright, so we're on the play. We're going to drop our Zagath Triumph first. Hope we can draw into some untapped sources. Fervent Champion. 1 of 60. That's the one. That's the one. I mean, Seasoned Hollowblade is a really good follow-up, though. So now we can just hold up cards to discard if we need to give it an indestructible. Our opponent might just try to shock it. Nope, they're going to go for a Cathartic Reunion, so they're going to draw some cards. They got rid of the Roiling Eruption since they realized it was dead against my creature. Alright, well, I'm definitely taking that, and I will gladly pitch a card for it. Ooh. Don't have the red, so can't play Radha yet. We'll just play out the land, go ahead and attack. If our opponent has another way to kill our Seasoned Hollowblade, I'll probably pitch the Radha to it just because we're not drawing the red source. Then I'll probably end up top decking the one of the few red sources in the deck. Right, Shatter Skulls smashing for our opponent. Damn, I would have attacked and left myself wide open for a Robber of the Rich. It's like the perfect card. Thankfully, our opponent had one more card in hand than us, so it sucks to sucks, but what are you going to do? I think choosing one of 2 cards is probably good here. 5 in hand. Give me like a Torbrand or an Embercleave. Solemn, huh? Well, I guess I take the Scorching Dragonfire. Yeah, I'm gonna hold on my Seasoned Hollowblade as a defender. Try to avoid taking this unnecessary force. It's a lot of damage. Red can produce a lot of damage. Fires of Invention. Oh shoot. Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm playing Once Upon a Time, so I mean, it's all fair game. Opponent decides to attack. They stole a forest. Well, I think I'm actually going to discard the Coveted Prize. I could just search for a board wipe or something if I needed to, but just having an indestructible creature seems really good. Go ahead and make a few tokens. And we're just going to pass it up. Storm's Wrath. Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure I have to take... Yeah, I'll discard the plunder, actually. And that was just their first free spell. Ogre Battle Driver is pretty good. Kind of low-key terrifying. So, yeah, we're just gonna hold up Seasoned Hollowblade as a blocker again. Probably pitch the Rodha if we have to. And then we can reanimate it with Kenrith. And that's pretty good. This is a sweet deck that our opponent is playing. I gotta say, like, shout out to your boy Uncle Senpai for coming up with probably the spiciest Morog deck I've seen. Weaselback. Alright, our opponent can't play any other spells, right? No, they have one more spell. Oh yeah, they can pump up their Weasel. Damn. Yeah, I should have blocked with the Seasoned Hollowblade. I mean, we would have taken 7 there though with a trample. Move that back to the command zone. Osri's pretty good. Still not a mountain. Opponent seems to still not have found their 6th land yet, so... No attacks from our opponent. We found a red source. That's pretty good. Cool. So now we know that we have an Archpriest of Iona on top. All warriors in play. Yep. Opponent shocks the Seasoned Hollowblade to no surprise. And they get rid of the Radha. That's some really good draws for our opponent. We'll go ahead and activate Tazri first. Grab Linvala, Victory's Envoy. Play the Archpriest of Iona. I mean, I feel like I have to start attacking my opponent, but if I just attack now, he's gonna hit me pretty hard on the backswing. He's got Morog, so now he's got extra combat steps. Almost for free. Giving his creatures trample is insane. We have to double block. It's pretty good. Pretty sure our opponent's I'm pretty sure our opponent's got us. Yeah. Holy shit. So we are on the play, and sand's not the worst. We have the green, we have the red, the black, the white. We have all the colors, just split on 3 lands. Up against Heliod. So, I mean, we're going to keep it and just pray that our opponent's start isn't, like, super fast. It's super fast. Yikes. I think we just keep playing out the tapped lands. Next turn, maybe we play Radha. Our deck's like too interaction light to be up against this deck, I think. Deadly Alliance is good. It'll help us. Though we need to find a way to exile the Heliod. That's going to be a problem. It's going to be a huge problem. Trapped in the tower for our opponent. Better pacifism, I suppose. See what we can find on top here. Another land doesn't seem bad. This is a swamp though. I think we'll play the Seasoned Hollowblade. Opponent's holding a priority. Their Shadow Spear, like, just ironically, just shuts off my Seasoned Hollowblade. That's pretty crazy. The tech. The secret tech. Yeah, that's pretty good. Well, he's going to deal combat damage regardless because it has trample. Well, we can play the Nimble Trap Finder and still afford our Deadly Alliance. Can also play Tazri. I think that we're just going to hold up the Deadly Alliance against their Ginger Brute. Here comes the Heliod. Opponent pays the mana, so we can go ahead and kill the Ginger Brute. Outlaw's Merriment's good. Start making tokens every turn. I guess we pass. Arcana Sun's Grace for our opponent. Having a lifelinking Pegasus that makes flying lifelinking Pegasi is pretty good. It's a pretty good effect to have. I think we just go ahead and run out the Kenrith. We need to find a wizard to complete the party. And if we do, we can give it haste with Kenrith. Stormwild Caprador is pretty good too for our opponent. Oh, we can kill the Speaker of the Heavens, which was a really good hit for us. Our opponent immediately scooped to that. Wow. Really? Good game. Good game, opponent. Whew, Brawl is a crazy format, but I gotta say I had a lot of fun playing this deck, and I look forward to doing more Brawl decks in future series. And if you enjoy this video, please consider leaving a like in the comments so I know you enjoy the content. And please consider subscribing to the channel if you're not already subscribed to stay up to date with everything that I release. And with that, I will see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching, everybody.